Hey there, ghostly guys and gals. It's Ghost here, and welcome to part 14 of the story of my life. So, in the last part, I talked about how, I had just lost the lease on my apartment. I was basically flat broke, moved back in with my parents, and I was getting this new job at the airport. So, cleaning the airplanes, cleaning the inside of the Delta planes, and I was, trying to get Ophelia back by studying Vietnamese, working out, all these things. So I went to the job and it was pretty easy. I liked the job. It was, easy work. My coworkers weren't so bad, at least, some of them. Some of them, I really liked. And yeah, so like the job was looking pretty good. And I was like, yeah, it's pretty good. So I was working there for about like a few weeks, and it was time, for me to actually ask Ophelia if she wanted to be back with me and stuff and all this um thing, all that. So, some quick context. I kind of neglected to mention this in the past videos. Was like these instances were very short, and like it was overshadowed by a lot of things. But briefly, I had talked with Ophelia a few times since like we had broken up. There was the time where I asked her to like get back together with me like 2 weeks after our relationship, and she's like, no, 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 stop or whatever. And then I was talking to her a bit. Like there was another hurricane, and I was like kind of worried about her. I was like, Ophelia, are you okay? And like she didn't respond to me at first, and I think she might have blocked me or something. So like I texted her on Instagram, and she actually did respond. She was just like, "What's up?" I was like, "Are you okay? I was worried about you." And she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm fine," and that sort of thing. And then I also texted her like something on Valentine's Day of 2022. I was like working then and stuff, so I was still like, and I was still pretty happy at my job. My old boss was still there and everything, and I was still like, I wasn't as like try hardy as I was this time with the Ophelia getting back together thing. But I was like, I was in town on February 14th, Valentine's Day, and I was like, I'm gonna go to the store. I'm gonna buy some candy and stuff for Ophelia. And basically, I was just like, I texted her. I was like, "Hey, Ophelia, I can't imagine that somebody as pretty as you would be single. But if you are single on this Valentine's Day and you'd like something, I'd be happy to give you some candy that I bought at the store and maybe meet up with you." She didn't respond again, and I just ended up eating the candy. So yeah. And I was just kind of like, okay, whatever. I just forgot about her for a bit. And then we also talked again a bit in the summer. Like, I don't remember. I think she actually texted me or something on Snapchat. And she was like, hey, what's up with you? Or something. I was like, oh, hey, what's up? And I was really hopeful that maybe, like, this would, like, she would help, like, or not help. She would get back together with me. And this was like, she was going to want to be together with me again. But this was like after I lost my job, though. So it was gonna be kind of hard anyway. I guess if she even wanted to get back together with me, but she kind of just ended up, like I told her like how I was so broken and devastated over the breakup and stuff, and she was just kind of like, I'm sorry I made you feel that way, and like she kind of encouraged me. And looking back on it, she said some nice things, and I really wish that our interactions would have just left off on that nice note because the way our interactions have left off now, it's very bad. Once again, like the absolute worst case scenario, well, maybe not the worst case scenario. I guess it depends. It's debatable, but one of the worst case scenarios happened with Ophelia. So, you know, it was December 6th or 7th, I think, sometime around then, and I was like, okay, I'm ready to go and ask Ophelia, if she'll be together with me again. And I like wrote her a poem and stuff, and I like even had made a translation in Vietnamese. I mean, it was probably a very terrible translation, uh, but I did my best, and I was I texted, I made her like this love letter sort of thing, and and I also had that translated into Vietnamese just in case like she wanted to see it in Vietnamese. And I texted her all this on Instagram because I thought that was probably where she would respond to me, but she never responded to me like via text ever since we broke up basically. So I was like, I'm just gonna text her on Instagram. And then she was just like, oh hey. And then I told her about all this stuff and how I wanted her back and how I learned Vietnamese and how I had been working on myself and stuff and how I really just wanted to maybe try again with her. And I was not expecting this response, but she literally, I'm not exaggerating, this is exactly what she said. I hope you die. And I was completely taken aback, and I was just like, wow. And you might expect me to just break down into tears and, bawl my eyes out, want to kill myself and stuff. And I honestly, I would have expected the same thing. Like before that, interaction. If you told me that's what was gonna happen, I would have been like, oh no, like I'm gonna completely lose my mind over this or whatever, because she meant so much to me, and like I she brought me the most happiness of anyone in my life basically, and it was like it would be terrible to hear that like somebody who I loved tell me that. But I don't know. It just didn't hit me. It was always I've always looked at that as like an overreaction, and I'm always kind of like I feel like she didn't mean that. And maybe that's just my way of coping with it, and it's just like me trying to you know, not feel the pain of that. But I always just feel like she didn't really mean that. Like either she said that in like a weird heat of the moment thing, and maybe she felt bad later, but was like, I don't want to apologize to him because then maybe he'll think that oh, I still want to be with him or something. Or she might have just said that, and this was my original theory, like right off the bat. I even said this to her after she said that. It was that I thought that she's told me that just because she was like, I'm tired of Ghost like texting me, and I mean, we like I said, I didn't text her like often. We only had texted a few times, but I guess she just wanted to just stomp out any chances of us being back together. But she just she just didn't want to be back together, so she was just like she's just like, what can I say to get him off my back? And she was like, you know, oh, I guess I can tell him I hope he dies or something. And that's basically what I said. I was like, oh, so I think I'm pretty sure you're just saying that just so I don't bother you anymore. And I was like, well, I mean, I'm sorry that it had to be this way, but uh, I hope you remember me, even if you don't remember me too fondly. And, I know I'm always going to remember you, and I'm thankful for the times that we had and that sort of thing. And yeah, then she said I was stupid, and then that was the end of the conversation. So that was embarrassing, but it also, I don't know, it didn't hurt me as much as I expected. And I feel like it, honestly, the longer it's been since that incident, the more I felt like it's hurt. uh, but even right now, it's like, what, it was just a weird thing that happened. And hey, at least I learned some Vietnamese or whatever. And I honestly, I really enjoyed learning Vietnamese, and I'm still kind of learning it right now. But I never really have motivation to been. I haven't been having motivation to study Vietnamese or Japanese really ever since she said that to me. I mean, off and on, but I haven't been studying anywhere near as much as I used to, as much as I should be. A lot of the Vietnamese knowledge I used to know, I've forgotten, and so yeah. But I mean, I think I do want to learn Vietnamese someday. It's a cool language, and Vietnam is very cool. I like Vietnam. So yeah. But in any case, I was like, okay, well, since Ophelia is definitely out of the picture, I'll just like I decided, yeah, okay, I'll definitely go back to school, go back to college, and basically, I've decided then and up to now that I'm gonna go back to UNO, and I'm about to start like next week, and I'm going to study. I'm going to have the same major I did the first time, which is international studies with a concentration in East Asia. And I'm aspiring to hopefully transfer to another university so I can major in Japanese. And then from there, I'm looking to maybe get my MBA and just get a job, maybe with working with a company that does business with Japan or something like that. It doesn't even need necessarily be connected to Japan, but just get an MBA, and I'll be able to have some sort of job in business. but I also want to have like a Japanese degree, and I feel like I want to do something that I'm passionate about in my undergrad and something that I'm interested in, and this is something I really wanted to do. And I remember one of the reasons I lost a lot of motivation the second go around in college was because I was like, why am I doing finance? I was like, I don't want to do this. I wish I was studying like something I wanted to study, and yeah, and I know that I said, well, why am I doing finance or whatever? And I want to get an MBA eventually, but like I'm only probably gonna try to pursue that if I can get like maybe hopefully a fellowship or a grant or something hopefully to make graduate school affordable, and if not, then I'm just gonna probably try to tough it out and do something with an international studies or Japanese degree. I mean, yeah, good luck to me with that. I mean, I might have to end up killing myself anyway, but I might not be able to find a job. I mean, I still think I'm probably gonna end up killing myself anyway, but yeah. So anyway, that's basically what I've decided. And that's what I haven't changed my mind or anything, so that's what I'm still doing. And anyway, two other big developments happened in my life since I got that job at the airport and such. So the first thing was very huge. I was on Tinder, and then I saw none other than Ireland on the app, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's Ireland!" So I swiped right on her, and we matched. I was like, "Oh my gosh, yes!" So I was like, I was so happy. I was like, oh my gosh, like either she recognizes me and she like either wants to have a relationship with me or maybe like talk or whatever, and that's great. Or she doesn't recognize me and she thinks I'm attractive and I'm gonna be like, hey, remember me? And even if she doesn't, she'll like I'll refresh her memory and then it'll be like great. So I was like, hey, hey stranger, remember me? And she was like, yeah, of course I remember you. I saw you on here, and I was like, I decided to like your profile, because I wanted to see how you were doing. And we talked a bit, and she was working. She didn't end up going to college. She was just working at a. I don't want to say where she was working. I mean, I told it's a. She doesn't. I didn't even give her a real name, but even so, yeah. I don't want to tell her where she was working, but she was working at like a fast food place, and she was still living with her parents and everything. And unfortunately, though, she actually moved out to like I didn't really know where, but she moved like someplace out, like 40 miles away. That's what it said on Tinder. So yeah, she used to live like in the area, in New Orleans and stuff. But she was like, oh yeah, I moved out a few years ago, and yeah. So yeah, we started to talk, and basically I was kind of like, so what are you looking for on Tinder? And I didn't say anything like, you know, do you want to go on a date with me or anything? I just kind of was like, because I didn't know what her intentions were. I didn't know if like she just wanted to, she only matched with me just to talk to me or whatever, or I didn't know if she's actually attracted to me or whatever, what. So I was like, hey, what are you looking for on Tinder? And she was just like, I'm just kind of looking on here. I'm not really looking for much. Like, one day I want to get the love I deserve, but right now I'm not really looking for anything. I'm just kind of focused on myself and getting my own life in order. And I was just like, okay. And I was kind of disappointed about that. Because I was like, ah, man. But I was like, well, can we be friends? Because like, I really just wanted to be friends at least with her because I missed her for a long time, and I neglected to mention this, but or at least I don't think I mentioned this, but we actually did reconnect briefly, like in 2020, the summer of 2020. It was like right after me and Alina's first breakup, and I was still looking for her, and I actually managed to find her Instagram profile, and I contacted her and we talked a bit, and then I found that she had a boyfriend, and I was kind of like, oh well, I probably should stop talking to her. And then she ended up like deleting that Instagram profile, so then I couldn't even like contact her again if I wanted to. And yeah, so yeah. In any case, I was like, so can we be friends? She's like, yeah. And I was like, oh, well, that's great. And we exchanged Snapchat stuff, and you know, we talked a lot about our depression stuff, and uh, we were talking a lot about things, and I was telling her about how I was, trying to get electroconvulsive therapy at the time. If you don't know what that is, it's like basically for people who are treatment resistant for depression, they'll make you have like a seizure or something like with electrocution. And it sounds crazy. It's like electroshock therapy from back in the day, but it's like a lot better nowadays. And I was kind of skeptical at first, but my psychiatrist suggested it. I was talking to her about that, and yeah, I'll probably get to that too. I didn't end up getting the ECT, the electroconvulsive therapy, but yeah, I was talking to her about that, and we talked about like our mental health stuff, and yeah. So um, but like she was kind of expressing to me how things were like she didn't want to have a relationship, and she was kind of like um trying to be solitary and stuff. So I was like, oh, okay, and I kind of like wanted to back off and give her space because I didn't want to make her feel like I was pressuring her into wanting like being in a relationship with me, or like being weird about it and being like, hey, let's meet up, or hey, let's do you want to be like go out with me or something. So I was like, I should give her space and stuff, and you know we kind of didn't talk too much. Like we kind of just talked like once a month, I think, for a while, and yeah. So I kind of like gave up on her a bit, not necessarily completely, but I was like, I think we should be friends, but yeah, you know, I don't like. It doesn't seem like she's ready for a relationship now. So I was just like, okay, well, I'll talk to her like every now and again, check in on her, and we can, talk a bit. And anyway, so I was still working at the airport, but around late January, a lot of the people I liked like started to quit the job, and all of a sudden the job got a lot harder, and it was very hard to go every day. And I was having a very tough time. And like I said, I had still not learned that lesson about, um, you know, wait, actually, okay. I was about to say that I didn't talk about the ECT treatment. I'll get to that in a second. But what I was about to say was, so I didn't learn that lesson yet. That a girlfriend isn't necessarily my answer to everything, And I was just like, I need a girlfriend to like keep me at this job, so I can keep going at this job, and I can, keep working until my school starts in the summer. So I was like, I need to get back with Serenity. Like I think that's I think that's the thing. So I was like, I broke up with her, and unlike all the other girlfriends who broke up with me or like ignored me and forced me to break up with them, I was like, I broke up with her, and maybe since I did that, she actually was always wanting to get back with me, and I was like, so this is perfect. And right around Valentine's Day, I asked her like, hey, do you want to get back together? And she kind of gave me like an answer like, oh, I don't know, I'll think about it. And she, eventually she responded. She's like, no, I'm not gonna get back in a relationship with you. And I was very, very, very upset about it. I ended up like having to leave work that day, and I was crying so much, and I was so sad, and I was just like completely upset about everything, and yeah. And I even like thought like, oh, maybe I could just go to Jamaica or something, and I'll just visit her, and then she'll want to be with me because she sees I'm committed to like going to see her or something. But I ended up not doing that anyway. But it was fine. I ended up being able to tough through the rest of the time my mom wanted me to work there, and I ended up quitting in May. And yeah, so I've been having like the month off this month, and in the next week I'm going to be starting school and stuff, and so I got through all that. But anyway, when it comes to the ECT, so we went to go consult with a doctor about that, like a doctor who specializes in it. But he was just like, I don't really think that your depression is organic enough or something like that to like warrant this treatment. So instead, I'm gonna like set you up with some intensive outpatient therapy program. And I went to do that, and I really hated it, uh, and I was always like saying like, oh yeah, I'm suicidal and stuff, and they were like, do we need to send you to the hospital? I was like, no, I'm not gonna do anything. And I'm like, okay, and yeah, so yeah, I ended up getting set up with a therapist after that, and I'm still seeing that therapist to this day. And if I'm being honest, it's not really going how necessarily I'd want. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what I expected. He's a good guy. He's a good therapist, I think. But it's like I don't know. I don't feel like I'm good with therapy. I don't think it helps too much. But maybe this can be my therapy now. So yeah. in any case, everything was going pretty good, and this was like about a month ago, and I was about to leave my job, and I was like, like I was talking with Ireland off and on for a few months, and I was like, I really want to ask her out. I didn't at first. I was thinking like a full on like confession and saying to her like how I always had a crush on her and all this stuff, but my sister said it was like a little too much. So and she was like, just ask her to like hang out. I was like, yeah, that's probably a good idea. So I was like, oh, Ireland, do you want to hang out and stuff? And she opened the. Well, actually, no, she didn't open the text, and I did it when I quit my job. I asked her this because I was my schedule would be totally freed up, and I would have had money saved and such, and you know I would be totally free to go out and see her. And so yeah, she didn't open the text, and then she posted something on her Snapchat story, and it was like a few days after I texted her, and it was her and some guy in like her car, and I was at first I was like, huh, that doesn't look good. And basically, I was 90% sure that it was like some sort of boyfriend or something. But I was like, okay, there's a chance that could be like her brother, her cousin, her friend, like something that's not her boyfriend. I was like hopeful. So I texted her again, and she opened the text. I didn't even say anything like I wasn't like, oh, respond to me. I was just like, oh well, the offer's always open, if you want to come hang out with me or whatever. And she opened that text, and she never responded to anything. She never responded. And then a few days later, I saw her in her Snapchat story again, and this time it was her and this guy, and then like he kissed her and stuff, and I was basically heartbroken. Like I don't know why it affected me so much because I like knew like even before I saw that thing with her and the boyfriend, I was like, she's not gonna say yes to this, and even if she does, like it's not gonna result in anything. I was like nearly certain. I knew how it was gonna turn out, but I was like, I guess it was just the slim chance of that hope. It was still just in my head, and I was thinking about her a lot, and yeah, so I was very crestfallen, and that was just a few weeks ago that that all went down, and I'm gonna wrap things up in the next video and talk like give a conclusion and talk about how I decided to come here and start this channel and basically yeah. So in any case, this basically is the last part in the sense that the next video is gonna be a lot shorter and it's gonna be a conclusion type video. So yeah, I'll see you guys in that one, and I hope you guys all like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.